the information superhighway, an online network called Internet.
Yeah, you're very minimalist with your sets.
I like having like 4 things.
Yeah, I like lots of stuff, but stuff that is cohesive and makes sense.
Yeah,
because like there's a lot of shit on those shelves, but it's varied enough to where it doesn't look like I just threw a lot of shit on there. It looks like things were purposely placed there, which is the problem with, or was the problem with the original version, was I just kind of threw things at a wall.
Yeah, that's the problem I had with those awkward shelves that I used to have in all my videos. Is like only certain things would fit on this. So it didn't matter what I actually wanted. It was like, here's a hole here, and only this weird thing that I own that I don't even care for will fit this
strange thing.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of old set pieces I didn't actually care for, but they just fit a spot.
Yeah, that's kind of like I had. I mean, that was most of the pops, but I had like this Batgirl thing. It was the only Batgirl thing I had, and that's why I kept it on there. But it's ugly. It's like Batgirl with like toddler proportions. Like, no, not a fan.
I hear you.
But it's there because I needed more DC representation on the set, even though I stood in front of it.
Did you do the thing? I did this when I first started, where I counted each of the items that was like a Marvel or DC to make sure that they were fairly even.
No, I don't do that because there's one part of me that's like, if I did try and keep it exactly even, I would waste too much money.
Yeah.
Because I have to buy more DC things because I just inherently have way more Marvel stuff. And then there's another part of me that's like, I don't like enough DC characters to justify wanting stuff to buying stuff. Because like,
that's fair.
DC characters I like is basically just Batgirl, Flash, and Batman. I like others, but those are the 3 that I would buy stuff for.
Yeah.
Mostly just Batgirl.
My thing is like a lot of the characters, and it's similar for Marvel and DC. A lot of the characters I like are not characters that often get a lot of. I know you have that problem. I know, but I feel like that's Spider-Woman has still way more stuff than Moon Knight has ever had.
Oh yeah, probably. Moon Knight. I think Moon Knight has more. No, you're probably right. Because Spider-Woman, the reason that most of that Spider-Woman stuff exists is because of either her boom with the New Avengers or her TV show in the I think 78 is I think when that came out.
Sure.
Wait, no, because she was made in the I don't know. It was probably 80s or 90s.
Yeah, well, she started as a cartoon, and that's when they brought her into the comics. No, okay.
But yeah, I don't know when I started recording. But we are recording.
All right, I figured we were.
And I think
as soon as you start talking to me into a microphone,
as if I'm into, yeah. Okay, see, now you're starting to pick up on it.
I'm picking up on it.
On the like 35th or 36th
no, the only things that the only time I question it is when there's a pause, and then I'm just like, are we recording or is there? Yeah, because normally if we're recording, we would just
use a coaster, you heathen.
Oh,
you can move the coaster. It can stay in the same spot.
No, it's fine.
They're just okay. Well, I don't.
Well,
I don't
so like
mess with your steez.
So like I just bought new furniture. Very recently.
Yep.
And intentionally, I'm not using coasters because I like having well, not the rings necessarily. I like having worn furniture.
Sure.
They still look very new. I like purposely was sanding stuff down to make it look older and whatever. So I like to have it not look like it's fresh out of the box.
I think the coasters are here, so I'd like.
I get it. I'll respect your rules. This is your place.
Thank you very much.
I just forget is all.
That's fine. No, honestly, it's fine with a water bottle because a water bottle's not gonna sweat for a while because it's a water bottle.
Yeah.
But like this big McAllister's drink. I just broke the 4th wall. Now they know. We're recording this on the same day.
Oh no.
Oh no.
Yeah, we're recording a bunch today.
We're recording 3 today, but hopefully I do want to set up a regular like recording session after this so we can just do 1 and then hang out.
Yeah.
But since we'll have like a buffer of 2, we'll be fine if we miss a week.
Counter thought? Can we instead do it every other week and do 2 of them?
Yeah,
just fine. So it gives me more time to work on things on my own.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I didn't say weekly. I just said regular.
Right.
So just.
But
like
I would imagine if it was
thing.
if we were going to be one
Yeah,
video,
we could do every other. That was
okay.
that was what I was doing with Drake when we did our thing, which
Okay.
isn't dead as far as I know. He just hasn't asked
What
me to do it
is
in a
your
while.
thing? I don't even think I even know the name of
The
it.
Comic Panel Podcast.
Okay,
We just talk about comics.
fair enough.
We have a guest on every other week, I guess. But we did 2 episodes. We did one with Chris and one with Ricky, and then it never happened again. So
Well, there you go.
I'm still down to do it if you're listening, Drake, which I know you're not.
He just sent me a text out of the blue today and wanted to have me look over what he called a very controversial script that he just wrote.
Sounds about right.
I don't know what it is. He
Oh.
didn't send it to me. He just let me actually tell you. I'm gonna go through and read the tweets. There's only like 3 or 4 of them, but I didn't respond.
I like how you just called your text messages tweets.
Yes, I did. Because I only write in 280 characters at a
You
time.
also in the last episode referred to someone speaking in a speech as tweeting.
Did I?
Yeah, you corrected yourself immediately. but-
Okay. I mean, remember when someone says, "Who cares about Twitter?" The answer is me. Anyway, I'll read you his text because I didn't respond because I didn't understand the last one.
Me.
So we basically just said, "Hey, would it be possible to get your thoughts on a controversial video script I just wrote?" And I said, "Sure, depending on the time frame." And he was saying he wants to do it tomorrow. He was saying, "Are you still out at the Fashion Con?" And I said, "No, I got back yesterday." And then he responded, "Gotta rest up and play catch up." And I don't know what that meant in regards to what we were talking about.
I think he was just sharing a non sequitur that he needs to catch up on some stuff.
Oh, he was saying gotta rest up and play catch up.
Yeah,
for himself.
or he's saying that you have to do that.
Oh,
Or he's assuming that you have to do that.
I guess.
I don't know.
Yeah. The I don't know is what confused me. I don't know. You looked like your eyes just got real wide at your phone for some reason. What happened?
It's just Discord drama that I told them I can't really fully intake right now, but it's hilarious. But I can't share it on this podcast.
Fair enough.
I probably could, and it would never get to the person. But to play it safe, I won't.
Fair enough. I get asked to read a lot of other YouTuber scripts, and I'm really bad at actually following through with it. Because here's my thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
If somebody were to ask me to read through their scripts, I'm the kind of person where I would pick apart literally everything.
Yes.
We've
had this discussion before.
Yeah.
On this podcast.
Yeah, and so I'm really bad at that sort of thing.
That's okay.
Owen from
Owen likes comics.
Owen's Comics.
Hey, my brand.
He wrote a script a long time ago and asked me to look over it. I think it was for the Nerd Sync channels for a collab we were doing, and I was so menial about it that I would correct. He would write something like Marvel are doing something, or whatever.
Oh.
And I was so menial about it. I would correct it to is, not knowing that's an American versus British thing.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
And I was talking to a guy the other day who knows like 36 languages and teaches people how to speak different languages. Super interesting dude. And he was saying, like, from his perspective, because he's Irish.
Yeah.
He was saying from his perspective, Marvel is a collection of people. So when they do something, it's Marvel are doing something. Whereas from my perspective, I see Marvel as one entity,
company,
as a one company. So it's Marvel is doing something.
So grammatically to our American grammar would be correct. But I guess over there could be different.
Yeah.
But colloquially, that makes sense either way to me. I just never thought of it like that.
It makes sense, but it was one of those things where that's how granular I got with the corrections.
Yeah, that might be a bit much.
Yeah.
I feel like if it's a pattern, then and it's not just like one little mistake.
That's what it was. I corrected it twice, and then by the third time, I was like,
"Oh, okay,
I think I get it."
Cool. Well, hey everybody. Welcome to the online podcast.
Hi. Should we do the intros before we start chatting?
No.
Oh, okay.
It's the first ever digital audio cast. Starring your boys.
And who are these boys?
I don't know. Who's your boy?
I'm Boy Scott.
You're Boy Scott?
Mm-hmm.
I'm Girl Dylan.
What?
Oh, shit.
No girls allowed.
We've had a girl on this podcast before, though.
I don't recall.
Oh. It was like 2 years ago, so.
I don't recall.
It's probably like a year ago, actually. Well, it might be 2 years ago now.
How long have we been doing this podcast for? There've been like 35 episodes.
A year
How
and
could
a
it?
half,
All right.
something like that. Because we started episode like 5 was a year ago,
Okay.
but we started in like October of 2016. So
Okay.
yeah, but it's 2018 now.
I guess so.
So it's like a year and a half almost.
Oh, time flies.
We're old. Yeah, this is a show where we talk about stuff, and then
Occasionally get advice or questions of some kind from you guys on Twitter or YouTube's.
On Twitter.
At the Unpod. I'm gonna plug it up front. This is what you do. You plug it up front because
that's fine.
Because people might not listen to all the way to the end.
They should.
That's what I'm doing in my videos currently. I'm working in subscribing naturally, trying to in the middle of a video. I'm trying really hard. I'm trying really hard to fight my instinct of doing what all the other, like a ton of other YouTubers are doing, where like at the beginning they'll be like, hey, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it before you get into the content.
Yeah.
I hate that.
Yes.
It drives me crazy.
Yes.
So I've been trying to work in natural points where in like halfway through the video, it'll be something like we talked about how, like in a recent video, we talked about how like, during this time period, DC wasn't doing so great. They were kind of struggling and the fear of, bankruptcy was happening every week. And I was like, as a YouTuber, I can relate to that. Please subscribe. And then just kind of continue on with the video.
Fair enough. Yeah, so it doesn't feel like a call to action.
Right.
It is.
It's just, yeah. Or like another thing is, bringing up previous videos, and it's like, if you're a subscriber, like just saying, if you're a subscriber, you may have remembered this video. So it's like little unintentional.
You know who does that in the worst possible way?
Who?
And I hate it so fucking much.
Oh no, who?
Linus Tech Tips.
Oh no. I can't watch him anymore.
God, I want to every time. So they used to do this thing where they would intro a video with a cold open, and then do their intro. They're like with all the things dancing around. And then they would have like 5 seconds of just an ad. It would be like Tunnel Bear is blah 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 blah, and that's
best
it.
The bear tunneling.
Yeah, and it was just like a quick non sequitur about the ad. It wasn't connected to the video in any other way. It's just like a little quick commercial.
Sure.
Wouldn't even know it was there. Now what these motherfuckers do is it's always Linus that does it, and Linus is just a strange dude all around. No ill will towards Linus of Linus Tech Tips. He's just a strange dude, and I feel like he knows that because he kind of owns it. But he does this thing where instead of just treating the ad as it's not part of the video, it's an ad, it's a commercial. He tries to weave it into general conversation. So he'll be like, so Razer's coming out with a new laptop, and that's pretty crazy. It's got the chroma keys, and this one's got 3 monitors on it. How are they going to do that? Blah, blah, blah. We're going to get into that. But before we get into that, let me tell you about Tunnel Bear.
Oh.
And I want to fucking die every time he does it. It's the most ham-fisted way of segueing into an ad. And it's not like Drake used to do stuff like that, where he would segue actual content into an ad, but he would spend time on it and come up with a clever way of relating the content to the ad. But this is it's the efficiency of cutting straight from content to ad, but with a weird segue that doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, I almost feel like that's just a worse user experience than just having a straight, because I understand. I understand the appeal or the idea is to make the ads seem less like ads and just seem like they're a part of the content. But all it does is make it more jarring.
Yeah, for me it makes it feel more like an ad.
Yeah. Because
it's now this guy is suddenly selling something to me.
Yeah, because the way that it was before, it just felt separate, right?
Yeah, it was completely
it was just
detached.
Separate thing. Then we get into the content. Whereas, like, I don't know, I have the same problem with any ads or anything else, where if a video has like a tangent, in some that's away from the content, or like we're gonna talk about this, but first, whatever. If it's not actually legitimately related to the content, then I'm just gonna skip around.
Why is this here?
Yeah, I'm just gonna skip it. Just something about the phrase like, but before we get into that, I'm like, nope, skip.
That's my favorite thing about watching tutorials for like editing or something, where I already know most of the things that are happening in this video.
Yeah.
So it's like a 6-minute video and I'll skip to like 5 minutes and 50 seconds and then I'll learn the thing I need to know.
Well, there's some internet law from years ago. I don't think it's super applicable now, but it's certainly applicable for tutorial videos, where it says that the first third of a video can be skipped.
Yeah.
Yeah, at
Pretty
least.
much. All the intro shenanigans.
I was just watching a video. I will tell you the content, and I will have you guess how long you think the video was. It was a how-to tutorial in Premiere on how to do Ken Burns effects.
45 minutes.
It was not 45 minutes.
Okay. 15.
It was about 12 minutes.
You take here, quick tutorial. Click on the position keyframe. 1, 2, done.
Well, that's what the time length is. What got me to click on it, because I was like,
"What? Hold on!
Like, how could you talk about it for 12 minutes?
How can you talk
I'm
about
like,
the most basic animation?"
I'm like, I was thinking, am I gonna learn something wild that I've never seen before?
Is there an effect called Ken Burns in the effect controls panel?
That just automatically. No, but I will credit to where credit is due. The video opened with just a very brief, like 20 to 30 second history of the Ken Burns thing. To number one, explain what it is to people who might not know what it is.
It's kind of more like a presentation than a tutorial.
Well, that was just the first like 20 to 30 seconds.
That's just tutorial.
The rest was tutorial.
Why is that there?
But like, and I found it really interesting because apparently Ken Burns didn't create the technique. He was inspired by previous documentaries.
Right. He
popularized it. And so learning about it was actually it was invented in Canada, which was really So like that was the most interesting part of the video. And then it got like 7 minutes or so was him being like, so here's what we want to do. Here's our footage. Here we put it in a 1080 comp. It's 5K footage. That way we have room to zoom in and out and pan without losing any. So it was just a lot of explanation before he actually got to and then you just create a keyframe, move it, create a keyframe.
The actual 30-second tutorial. Google's been doing this thing lately, which I fucking love, where if you search something of a tutorial, like how to do this in Premiere, and the first result, if it's been like searched a lot and metadated a lot, the video will pop up embedded and it will show the exact like time frame starting and end of where the actual tutorial learning part is.
I love that.
It's great. It's like most of the time it's like 2 minutes off the top and 3 minutes off the back, and then this is the meat of the video.
Yes.
Like, okay, thank you. That's what I need.
Fantastic.
That's all I need.
I love that.
Give me that.
That's what AI should be about.
Yeah, Google. Get on that.
Good job, Google.
Amazon. Get on that. Now that we've had a 20-minute intro to our podcast.
Has it been 20 minutes, really?
It's been 18, yeah.
Okay.
So almost 20. I rounded up for the sake of simplicity.
Okie dokie.
Even though 18 has more syllables than 20, so. But this description is probably...
18 has more syllables than 20?
Oh, no, it doesn't. Never mind. 18 is just longer than 20. That's what I meant.
Okay.
I can't use the excuse that I'm tired because I'm not.
All right.
I'm just stupid.
Do you want to get into the...
Yeah, sure. Pull up a Twitter thing.
All right, so for all you guys listening, we have a Twitter account called The On Pod.
At The On Pod.
Where you can ask us questions, whether it's advice or just any questions that you want to have us answer, whatever it is. Not trivia. Like, don't just be like, what's the capital of Norway?
Yeah, like, you know, what's Captain America's real name?
Yeah.
Which one?
The only one.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, you ask us stuff using the hashtag AskTheo, or just reply to a tweet of ours or something. It doesn't matter.
Look out for a tweet from either... I will usually retweet it, but from the OnPod Twitter, whenever we do recording sessions, I will probably send something out that's like, hey, we're recording today. Give us some things.
All right, so this one comes from... @Nutman. You know him?
Oh, Anthony. I know
Yes.
Anthony well.
He has many names, but currently it is Captain James T. Cook.
That's a good one. I didn't notice that one.
And his question is 2 words. Best pasta.
Best pasta.
Best pasta.
Let me hear with this.
Are we doing noodles or noodles and sauce combo?
Well, yeah, I guess because pasta is just the pasta. Let's say
noodles?
pasta dish.
Okay, sure.
Best pasta-based
All right,
dish.
go for it. Hit me with your thoughts.
Well, I was gonna bring up the argument of every pasta dish is mac and cheese, but I don't really want to get into that right now.
But what's a salad?
Yeah, basically. So I don't know. That's a good question. Pasta-based dish, so it has to be largely pasta.
Yeah.
I think does ravioli count?
Yeah.
Yeah, I would say a really solid lobster ravioli then.
Ooh.
Like, and that's becoming
All right.
very popular, I've noticed in the last few years. Lobster ravioli, I used to love lobster in things back when it was like, I guess imitation lobster wasn't as big of a deal a while ago. So whenever I would see like a lobster ravioli or a lobster omelet or something, I'd be like, whoa, this is crazy and new. I want to try it. But now every Italian place has lobster ravioli.
Yeah. I will say,
I'm a big fan.
I do not care for lobster. I don't.
Really?
I don't see the appeal. It's just fine.
That's a lot of fish. I feel like if it's not prepared correctly, it's just fine.
Yeah.
Like lobster, crab, and crawfish are all kind
I
of.
do love crab though.
Crab is good.
I love crab a lot.
Crab. I've had there's this place that I order from a lot that has a good lobster ravioli, and it comes with bits of crab and shrimp in like the sauce that it's made with, and I also get some chicken and throw some chicken on there too.
Yeah.
It doesn't come with it, but
sure. I will say my favorite types of noodles, pasta noodles. I actually just started. You're
what a
right.
tame question from Anthony.
I know, right? With a guy with the name Nutman, Captain James T. Cook.
Anthony, for those that don't
best
know,
pasta.
he made like a while ago. He made some really funny videos, and then I think he does a podcast now.
Yeah,
but he's just like friend of the channels, I guess.
Yeah, he's a cool dude.
He's never very serious. So just best pasta. This is the one thing he's really into.
I love it. There was a thread on Twitter last year ranking all of like a lot of pasta.
Oh yeah, I think I saw that.
I was so entertained because I hadn't heard of any of them, and they weren't doing they weren't doing a lot of the classic ones like that. But they were ranking them on like how much sauce it can hold.
Wow, like load bearing pasta.
Yeah, like exactly. So there's a lot of pasta noodles that I haven't had, but the one that I always really love, pretty much without fail, I love penne pasta a lot.
Penne is good.
I think it has it's very versatile, I feel.
You know what can be good? Penne with a really kind of light, creamy cheese sauce for a mac and cheese with penne.
Okay.
That is, if you get that, I think the best mac and cheese I've ever had was at Sweet Tomatoes, which did I take you to that?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, it was at Sweet Tomatoes, and they only had it once. It was only out for like 10 minutes while we were there, but it was the best mac and cheese I've ever had because it went down so smooth and nice.
Well, so I don't know if it's just because I'm getting older or whatever, but like heavier pastas are really hard for me to get on board with. So like cheese heavy, like mac and cheese is still it's become a thing that I have a hard time eating because it's just so heavy, and cheese in general I just don't. So like I just got into
pastas, by the way.
Nice. So I just got into what's that called? Pesto, which is something I hated as a kid, and I wanted to retry it now that my taste buds had changed, and I love it. It's great.
Pesto's great,
and it's such a really nice light thing to put on.
Like a nice chicken pesto panini.
Probably. I bought pesto and like sun-dried tomatoes and put that in some penne pasta. That's Flavor Town right there, man. I love it. It's Flavor Town.
Take it on down to Flavor Town, boys. So did you give a definitive best pasta? Penne?
Penne, I would say...
Or pasta dish.
Pasta dish. Currently, I'm really digging like the penne pasta. All right, how about this?
What penne is just the pasta. What goes on?
Yeah, sorry, pesto. I dig that.
Right.
But I will say this: I just had Italian the other day in Atlanta, and I always feel weird ordering this because it's such a child. It almost sounds like a child dish.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
Spaghetti and meatballs. Because here's the thing. Almost every place that serves spaghetti and meatballs, the waiters will tell you it's probably one of the best things on the menu.
Yeah, you can do... People... I'm not the biggest fan of spaghetti and meatballs, but people get fucking crazy.
Neither am I.
Spaghetti and meatballs.
I went there. I went and I was gonna get like some sort of light, like tomato basil kind of pasta thing. But the waiter, I just kind of was like, I think I want to try the spaghetti and meatballs, and the waiter instantly was like, "That's the best thing here," and I was like, "Oh, then yes, let's do it."
Hell yeah!
So
yeah, I'm not. I think the problem with spaghetti and meatballs for me is I'm not a fan of long, thin noodles.
Yeah.
I like your shells or your raviolis, your pennes, stuff like that. I don't like angel hair or spaghetti. I don't fuck with that.
I usually don't, but I do like that like the angel hair if it is a very lighter kind of oil based whatever. If it's the bed of something like if angel hair is the bed of like chicken or something, then yeah. If it's the main thing, no, I don't. I agree. I
agree.
Fan. I'm hit you right there. So yeah, I'm feeling very light pastas, a lot of basil tomato kind of combos.
For sure.
Not a very big heavy into like cheese or even just regular tomato sauce. It's tomato sauce in general. I have a very shaky. It's hard for me to find one that I actually like.
Now I want to find the line here.
Okay.
Lasagna, pasta dish.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, I would agree. I think, but okay, so chicken parmesan.
Yeah.
Pasta dish. I think that's the line.
Yeah.
I think we found the line.
I think, I think so.
I'm going to say no. I'm going to put a definitive no.
Okay, you're going to put a no there?
On chicken parmesan.
All
because it's the chicken parmesan itself. That's the main thing.
Right. It's just with noodles, basically.
And I'm sure you could find an Italian place that just doesn't serve it with noodles.
Right. It's almost like the same as I don't know, like I wouldn't consider chicken noodle soup a pasta dish. I would consider it soup.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Chicken noodle pasta dish.
Yeah.
Doesn't have the quite the same ring to it.
Yeah.
I have some chicken noodle soup.
Yeah.
That's what I was going to eat, but I ordered a sandwich instead. I don't know why. I've been just kind of a side tangent before we get into... I have a YouTube one that I'm going to bring up, but...
Does lo mein count? Sorry.
I think so, but probably, but not in this... Probably
not in this context. Okay, I got you.
Because, well, he did just say best pasta. So
yeah. I think pasta sounds more Italian. Right. Noodles is more just like the food.
Yeah. That could be semantics. Yeah. But if you went to court, I think you would get lo mein through as a pasta dish.
Yeah, probably. Anyway, continue with what you're saying.
Yeah. So recently, I have been I'm very burnt out on I guess I want to say hot foods. Does that make sense? Like
sure.
Fried bar stuff.
Oh yeah.
I'm just getting very tired of it.
Mm-hmm.
But the kind of catch-22 there, and I know what your answer is going to be, or your advice is going to be here, is most delivery apps only deliver food that is that, which is fried chicken fingers or burgers and stuff like that.
I gotcha.
And sure, I could go to the grocery store and buy actual food, but
you could.
I don't leave my apartment.
All right.
But I've been trying. I have on my grocery board. I have fruit there because the other day I was like, I want grapes, which is not a sentence.
Hell yeah!
I love fruit. But I
buy
never
grapes.
Crave it.
I almost always have grapes somewhere in my fridge.
I used to be the
grapes.
same way, but I just whenever I don't go to the grocery store that often anymore because I have been on a kick of, and I think it's just a phase. I go through phases where either I just like eating out all the time, because I budget a lot of my monthly stipend for food, just delivery food.
Yeah,
I stipend for that. Or sometimes I'll go through phases where I like to cook and I'll buy boxes of things or just make.
You can always do Amazon Fresh if you don't want to leave your
right, and I was doing that for a while, but I don't know. I could probably do that. We could probably get grapes and pineapples. And stuff.
That's largely where I get grapes from.
Cool. I might do that when I get paid then.
Occasionally you'll take me to Walmart for grocery shopping,
which we might do later if you need that.
I just don't have money. It's the end of the month.
Right. Fair enough.
Well, I mean, if I can find something really that can hold me over, it's probably going to be better than me. Because at the end of the month, usually I have to buy food,
Oh, true.
Because I don't have the money to.
Well, we can go and see.
Okay. Anyway, so at Walmart they have grapes that are fine, but I don't care for them because my favorite. I don't know. People have very specific grapes. This question is changing into best grapes, by the way.
Best grape.
Best grape singular.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of red grapes.
What's the best singular grape you
What's
have ever
the best
had?
grape?
Ah, the grape of '92. Let me tell you.
Oh, that's a good year for grape.
Oh shit. It was bulbous, no seeds. It was ready to go.
Well, so that's my thing. Is I don't like big grapes. I
love the big boys.
See, I don't like those. I like the really small ones that just like crunch when you bite into them. They're very tart and almost sour. Those are my favorites. Walmart has the ones that are very like big and bulbous.
Yeah,
and they're fine grapes. They're not for me. I like the very small circular ones.
You a green man or a
red?
A red man?
Red for sure.
I was gonna. Yeah, I don't like describing those as red.
Really? Okay.
They're not super red to me.
That's just what I mean.
Red.
Right, but they're called red grapes.
I know, and I know that, but like they're more purple.
Yeah, I mean it is weird that we that anything that has a grape flavor is purple, and yet we've all called them.
Why is so much shit labeled as red? Like girls who have red hair, just red hair in general. It's not red. It's orange.
I know. I literally.
Black people are brown most of the time. What the fuck?
I had this same when I was a kid. My cousin has red hair, and I was
also. By the way, the same could be said about white people. We're not white. We're like tan. Which is not a color. What color are we? Yellow?
Well, that's all skin tone is just different shades of brown.
So we're all brown.
We're all brown.
That's okay, cool. We're all universally brown.
Yeah.
The Simpsons got it right. They're all yellow.
They're just all yellow. But anyway, so I have a cousin with red hair, and I literally argued about that. They would be like, "She has red hair." I'm like, "It's orange."
She does not.
What are you talking about?
Stop. Yeah, but it's like with cats, it's different. Like, people won't refer to Wanda and be like, she has a red coat.
Yeah.
But if that was human, if her fur was on a human head, they'd be like, oh, you have red hair.
So you call Wanda orange?
Yeah, she's an orange tabby.
So
that's what I would say.
So my family refers to them as yellow, not orange.
I guess that's closer, but that's very strange.
They're more like golden.
Yeah.
Right?
Golden. Ooh.
Yeah.
Hell
well,
yeah.
I don't know how it started, but it's just Sparta has a brother named Mayor.
What do you call Sparta's coat?
Right, well, that's...
You would say yellow?
We call all the orange tabbies collectively, we call them the yellows.
The yellows. Ooh. Yeah. That's racist.
Is it? Only if you bring it down.
Only if you... It's the start of something. Once you group them, that leads to something.
Then we create in-groups and out-groups, and that leads to hostility, which can lead to racism.
Cat racism, not okay.
No. Anyway.
You want to do the YouTube
Colors
one?
Are weird. Yeah, hit me with the YouTube one.
Cool. Let me open my phone.
Hopefully that was helpful. We got pasta and grape.
Best grape. All right. So on the episode 33 of the podcast, Adrian Castro commented, #AskTheo. How do you come up with stuff to write and research?
Okay. I was actually having a big... it's almost... All right. You know DK.
Correct.
Hopefully some people know DK. He's an editor for Super Carlin Bros.
For a better frame of reference, he used to do Alter Ego on NerdSync.
Yes, he used to host Alter Ego on NerdSync. Also used to edit.
Had a vlog for like half a minute, I think.
Yeah, he had it for a couple weeks.
I don't remember. I never watched it. Sorry, DK.
He's a cool dude, but he tweeted out about how long content curation or idea curation takes for them, and he was talking about how it's the biggest part of making a video is coming up with the idea. It like takes the longest time.
Absolutely.
I disagree.
Oh, really?
Yes. Because he's talking about coming up with the idea.
I would say the hardest part is coming up with the idea is what I would say.
I still disagree.
You still disagree? That's fine.
I have. Well, this was my thing because I was so curious about it. I was.
You said that like you just killed my dog.
Well, no. So he never responded to my tweet, but he was talking about how the coming up with the ideas takes the longest time, and I was like, but what is? I was like, because he specifically labeled like the writing as a separate part, and I was like, well, so then what does the idea coming up with? Yeah, I was like, yeah, that's why I was like, so what does that mean? Like how long does it take to... Because I'm the kind of person... I have too many ideas. I will never get to them all. I have lists upon lists of ideas I want to get to.
The reason that I've always classified getting an idea as the hardest part is because there's no process in which, well, at least for me, I don't have a process other than, I don't know, like reading comics or something and hoping I get an idea.
Yeah.
I can't sit down on my computer and be like, all right, this is idea making time. I just have to hope something comes to me.
Right.
And then I can actually sit down and do the process of research and writing and stuff.
Sure. I guess the thing with me is it's just because I've always had lists upon lists of ideas that I wanted to do that it's never been a thing where I'm like, I don't know what I'm gonna do this week. I gotta come up with.
That's true. Like I think when I first started the show with issues, I was running into that problem where I was starting to run out and I needed to find stuff. But nowadays I haven't come up with an idea that's just sat on the list. Most of the time lately, I've come up with an idea, and within a week or two, it's been written. Yeah. Just because I'm like, oh, I had like my Spider-Gwen video, for example. I had that idea when I was reading a Spider-Gwen comic, which it's not out. Well, it might be out now. I don't know. Actually, it's probably not. It's probably not going to come out till late March. But I had an idea for a Spider-Gwen video, and just kind of had that idea. I was like, ooh, this would be fun. Just by reading a Spider-Gwen comic, and I wrote it down on my Trello board, my list of ideas, and I pitched it to Kevin just in conversation, our friend Kevin, and he was like, yeah, that sounds really cool, and he was just over here playing Bloodborne, and I was like, oh, okay, well, if someone else thinks this is interesting, I took out my laptop and wrote it up. That's how that happened.
I think so. To answer the question of like was the question like how to come up with ideas?
Yeah, how do we come up with ideas to write and research?
So what I do,
we double check that's actually what that is. But continue.
So what I do for the types of videos that I do, which if you're not familiar, my sales pitch that I've been saying all weekend to brand new people is I take comic books and superheroes and I use them to teach about real world history, philosophy, science, culture, art, whatever. And so in order to do that, basically my goal is to teach about something that I find really interesting through the medium of comic books. Yeah. And so the way
through stuff.
Yeah, and so the way that I do that is first I have to expose myself to really cool, interesting things outside of comic books.
Right.
And then try to come up with a way to hook them together. And so what that usually means is reading lots of books, listening to lots of podcasts, watching lots of other YouTubers who are very specifically, like, for example, there are a bunch of science-based YouTube channels out there, and if I wanted to take if they had a really interesting topic, I'd be like, ooh, I bet I could teach a very similar thing, but instead of just approaching it from a very strictly science-based, I would try to approach it through the comic books.
That's interesting.
And also teach people, obviously put a different spin on it because there's comic books involved. You could learn a bit about the comic book characters themselves as we go through it. So it's different in that regard. But it's really just, for me, it's really just a lot of reading a lot of books that I find really interesting.
So I'm the same way, but it's comic books instead of books, because all the shit that I do, whether it be whether Orm's Forum, I kind of put out of this category because that's just anything that happens to be related to comics, and lately it's been like news. That's just my soapbox to yell about stuff. But specifically for reviews and issues is character analyses, which I haven't really headline that's what that show is, but it is. It's character. It's taking a character or a universe or something and analyzing it with a certain angle. So, like for Batgirl, I took the character of Batgirl and analyzed her as a feminist symbol. For Power Girl, even though I wasn't sure what issues was just whatever back then. Power Girl I took Power Girl, analyzed her boob window very intently. And just recently with Kite Man, I took Kite Man and analyzed him as a sad clown archetype and what that means for writing. And with reviews, it's just reviewing comic books, which I've tried to change how I get ideas for that. But all of that stems from just the source material, from me reading comics every week or just reading more stuff, which, that kind of, because where you would, if you need an idea, if you were like struggling to get an idea, you would probably go and take a book off your shelf or listen to some podcasts or something. I guess that's what I would do, but with comics. So
literally, I do exactly that. I'll be like, all right, Webuary's coming up. I need some Spider-Man videos. let me go to my bookshelf and look through all of my Spider-Man related books, or come up with ideas on my own based off of like classic Spider-Man stories and try to come up with like the last year we did Kraven's Last Hunt, and that was based around me wanting to do an analysis of Kraven's Last Hunt, and combining it with something that I wanted to talk about forever, enclosed cognition, which is something I learned from the YouTube channel Extra Credits, which used that term to talk about video game characters instead. So it's a lot of I very rarely.
Who edited that?
Who edited what?
The Kraven one?
No, because that was last year. You weren't editing for me last year.
I remember. Maybe I just watched it. I remember being part of that video for some reason.
You might have been there.
Was I just there? I might have just been there.
You might have just been there. Anyway,
essentially.
But yeah, no, I very rarely have ideas that are 100% originally my own.
Yeah.
And that's on purpose. That's because number one, I want to make sure I get other people. I want to make sure that this idea I have isn't so crazy that like I'm the only person who's ever thought of it.
It was like me and my Flash as a Jedi video.
Yeah.
Where I was like, this is so obvious, and I looked it up and no one had done it, and I'm like, am I a genius?
Well, that was so I've had moments like that with things like I think the very first kind of like psychological video I ever did was talking about the Dr. Doom's face and like and how his face probably isn't really that badly scarred and he just has
and it's not at all.
Yeah. Well,
especially nowadays.
Yeah.
I'm sure it was at a certain point.
There was there was that panel in Secret Wars where he took off the mask, but I don't know how canon that is.
I think he fixed it during Secret Wars when
Fair
he
enough.
rebuilt the world. When he turned into God, he was like, hey, I might as well fix my face as well.
Yeah, might as well. But yeah, so that one, and I think maybe the Deadpool is secretly a mutant, and his power is that his cells regenerate at such a high frequency. Like, those were two ideas that I think were wholly my own. But again, I took from interesting thing, like Deadpool talked about HeLa cells, and I only learned I didn't just know that. I had to I learned about it through lots of different podcasts and research material, and then I was just like, oh, I bet I could apply this to Deadpool. So it's a lot of just having a lot like stuff in the back of your head ready to apply it. Like, I mean, if you're doing the same kind of thing that I am, just having a lot of two different worlds, merge them together. I did a video recently about Spider-Man may have secretly been like accidentally a horror monster, and that was due to his popular that helped his popularity out. That was largely based off of an essay from a book called Web Slinger. It wasn't entirely based off of that. I almost always want to make sure that I'm adding my own spin.
Yeah.
Or don't ever be like 100% derivative of someone else's work.
That's a concern that I had when I was making my Batgirl video, because it's my Wonder Woman video, because that is heavily inspired by, I think, the second chapter of Supergirls by Mike Madrid. And I use a lot of that and I quote a lot of that, but and I mentioned at the end of the video, this was heavily inspired by chapter 2 of Supergirls. Go read it. But that was a concern of mine. I was like, I don't want to Matthew Santoro this.
Right.
I don't want to take this written thing and just read it into a camera and say it's my own thing.
Well, that's what, if I'm using the Spider-Man horror video, because it's the most recent one that I've put out.
Good video, by the way.
Thank you. That's one of the only videos that I'm actually like still proud of the week after it came out. I thought it was, I thought it was a lot of fun.
Liked your use of, was it Ecto or Glowfi? Which one?
Ecto, yeah. It was very last minute because I was like, I need text, but I don't know what to do.
Ecto.
Because we're talking about horror things, so might as well. But thank you. So like that chapter, or that it was based off of literally the first essay in Web Slinger. I was like, I need a Spider-Man topic. I pulled the book off my shelf, turned to chapter 1. This is really interesting.
Yeah.
But I didn't just take from there. I went and researched a lot of other material. There's a book by Mike Benton. He does a lot of them that are incredible. And it's the Illustrated History. The Illustrated History of Horror Comics. And I was like, well, if I'm going to talk about horror comics, I just want to dive more into the horror comic genre. And a lot of times my research will lead into other topics that I want to do. I dove into 10 Cent Plague, which made me just desperately want to do a video specifically about the Senate subcommittee hearing and nothing else.
That's a thing that I've experienced a lot too.
Yeah.
Is where I will start writing about one thing and then realize I'm writing about something completely different.
Yeah. Just today I have a video about the real origin of J. Jonah Jameson and how he was probably based off of like either secretly based off of like Frederick Wortham or basically the idea that J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man's
really cool.
Yeah, J. Jonah Jameson and Spider-Man's relationship is a metaphor for comic book publishers and the comic book industry and
yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, right? Stan Lee will never admit it. He'll say that it's always been based off of himself. But Stan Lee's a liar. So
Hey, how dare you?
Yeah. So but anyway, as I was writing that, I freaking just as I was Googling, I found someone who wrote a chapter in a book about it, another essay about it, and I was like, well, let's see what this person has. And they had a bunch of awesome, cool ideas that I didn't think of.
Yeah.
But then they started talking about this other stuff about how like issue number 50 of Spider-Man, the SpiderMan No More, is basically the story of Stan Lee almost quitting comic books, but being pulled back in.
Interesting.
Yeah, by his wife saying, well, just try to make a comic the way that you want to, and that's when he launched Fantastic Four and Marvel really took off. It's basically, you could read it the same way. And so then I was like doing that, and I was like, wait, these are two separate videos. I feel like I could talk about J. Jonah Jameson as a metaphor, and then make another video about how the hidden meaning behind Spider-Man No More as two separate things. But I think the original thing I was trying to say was like when I was doing the Spider-Man horror comic, I was doing more research about horror comics in general, and I found some really great quotes from Mike Benton, who was not at all talking about the same subject, but like they linked together so well, like pulling from different sources and finding new ways to interpret things and coming up with again, things that aren't 100% derivative is the way to go. Like the chapter in Web Slinger about Spider-Man being a horror comic didn't mention anything about the fact that Ditko was very well known for being a horror artist. And I felt like that's such a interesting point to bring up, that Ditko, that like Jack Kirby usually does all this stuff, but then here comes Ditko to work on Spider-Man, who is famous for his art style being horror regardless of what he drew. And it's just, so it's just putting a lot of different pieces together. So I don't know if that's helpful for
I would say, just to kind of pivot into more advice about getting ideas, don't stress about it at all. Like it's they will come to you. Like don't sit down and tell yourself that you need to get an idea out. Obviously, if that's your job, then that's a different thing. But and catalog them as well as you can. Like either have a notebook, or I would recommend, Scott and I both use Trello to just get like a Trello board and just write your ideas down and put them down on somewhere to make them more physical. Don't just be like, oh, that'd be cool. Anyway.
And I would also say, I mean, I'm sure this is pretty obvious to everybody, but like if you have a place like Trello to put your ideas and you just for some reason can't access it, don't be like, well, I'll put it on whenever I can get it. Just write it down literally anywhere that you can. If it's just the Notes app on your phone, then you can put it on Trello later or whatever.
Like Trello does have a phone app, and I use that more than I use the desktop app, because so many times I've just woken up and been like, and had a dream about a video idea, and like, oh, gotta write that down.
Yeah.
And I'll write it down, or I'll see a news story on Twitter and be like, oh, good, I gotta talk about this now.
Yeah, I'll be like almost falling asleep when an idea will come in, and I'll just tell Alexa to be like, hey, remind me of this tomorrow. And then
see, when that shit happens, I ruin my sleep schedule and I just work on it immediately.
Oh yeah.
Like when it was happening a lot when I was recovering from food poisoning, was when my body had not fully recovered, but my brain had. So I was wanting to do a bunch of stuff like set redesign and work on stuff, but my body was just like, no, lay in bed, stop, please. But I'm like, no, fuck you. And I just did stuff anyway. But like last night, I told you I was trying to fix my sleep schedule, and the reason I didn't was because I couldn't stop myself from switching sets out and trying a bunch of stuff.
I gotcha.
But
I would say, just to finish up the thing about Ollie from Philosophy Tube has a really great like 2 or 3 part series about creativity. What is creativity? Can you force creativity? That kind of stuff. It's really awesome, and it ends with I think the final video is how to be more creative, and I really appreciate it because yes, it's a philosophy channel, but it's not. It's very practical advice. It's not just like, well, let me tell you about the ethereal concept of creativity.
Ever heard of the ship of Theseus?
Yeah, no, it's very much like literally. He obviously goes first through what even is creativity. How do we define it? Whatever. But at the end of it, I think the basic thesis is if you just expose yourself to new experiences and come up with that will start triggering new ideas within you. And obviously you can combine things together, which really helps me out. I know there are a lot of successful channels that just, or not even channels, just writers, authors, whatever you want to do that just combine ideas and it turns into some awesome stuff. So yeah, do that.
Yeah.
People always say follow your passion. I think that's great advice for people who know what their passion is. But follow your curiosity.
Follow your nose.
Don't do that.
For the fruity taste that shows. Is that what it is?
I don't know.
Let's find. I'm gonna look that up while you find another Twitter.
You wanna know what? Let's do another one from Twitter.
More Twitter, and then we'll close out. I'm gonna find that Toucan Sam though.
Okay.
Need that in my life right now. Need myself a good toucan man.
Oh yeah. Here's one that I feel like could.
What's this? My nose detects something new that's delicious, so I must follow my nose wherever it goes.
Oh, it's a musical.
Wherever they grow. Oh my! I can't believe my eyes. A cherry berry tree. What a discovery!
Now only in Kellogg's Fruit Loop cereal, Cherry Berry Swirls.
Cherry Berry Swirls.
Complete breakfast.
Yes, my nose.
Inspired by a real-life adventure.
What was that?
Just cut into something for a second. I think someone recorded that over an existing tape. And it cut in for a second.
Oh man.
Follow your nose.
Do you want a serious one or a fun one?
Let's sandwich it. We started with kind of a funny one, and then went into more serious.
All right, this comes from Nisha.
Hi, Nisha.
Hi, Nisha.
How's it going? Stop. Okay, Nisha, stop making tweets that get 7 million likes.
Yeah.
It's not fair. Also, I don't understand how you don't have more followers after doing that every day for months.
Yeah. Nisha's great. Nisha helps run Nerd Sync social media stuff. She probably does. I don't know.
Oh, does she?
She asked a question.
Oh, you're right. I'm sorry.
What are you talking about?
I don't... Okay, anyone that I know, I assume doesn't listen or watch anything I do. I'm sorry.
Anyway, she has her own podcast called Speak On It. I was on it recently discussing Black Panther. It's great. Go check it out. So she asks, why does Scott Nicewander hate anime so much? Does he also hate kittens, puppies, and joy too? # Ask Theo.
Well, I don't know why you hate anime. I can say why I hate anime.
Okay, so that was going to be my first question, is if you agree with me.
I don't hate anime. I have a very tough time getting into anime because it all looks the same.
Thank you.
That's yours too then?
It's not that it all looks the same. It's that it all looks the same and I'm not a fan of that look.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I like it if it's done well, but the problem is it's so oversaturated and most of the time it's as if they are working with it's as if most anime are working with a program that comes with a kit of assets to use.
Yeah.
And they're trying their best to use these assets in a certain way, but it's just animation. Mm-hmm. It's not like they can't draw different looking things.
Right. So obviously people are gonna be shouting, but there's subtle differences, or there might even be shows that are wildly different.
Look at cartoons, the variance in what cartoons look
Western
like. Western cartoons versus anime.
Right. You compare I don't know. I was trying to think of just two wildly different. Like if you try to do Simpsons to Adventure Time, that just doesn't.
Yeah, there's very different. But if there was a Simpson anime and an Adventure Time anime, they would look the same.
Right.
Or not? They would look very similar.
Right. I mean, it's Fairly Odd Parents did a whole episode where they're going through different channels and shows, and every single one of those channels was animated in a different style to reflect of like Peanuts, Ninja Turtles, all these other cartoons, and they were just all the characters had to be drawn and animated differently because there's such a variance between everything. But the other reason I'm not such a huge fan of anime, number one, so the reason she's tweeting this at me is because somebody made a tweet comparing Killmonger's outfit to Vegeta from Dragon Ball
Oh,
Z.
yeah, I saw that.
And
I was a little peeved at you for that.
Yeah?
Just because... there was false... I feel like you were misinformed with that specific drawing of Vegeta.
That's why I asked.
You asked,
I said, is this what...
It sounded a little bit like, is this what all other anime look like?
No, so I've been told it was a fan drawing.
Oh, is it? Okay.
I guess. That's what some people say.
That is what Vegeta looks like, but it's I will give credit where credit is due. Dragon Ball does look different enough because it's that very trademark Akira Toriyama style that I do enjoy, but
I still don't.
Well, sure, but it's different enough.
Yeah.
From most of the stuff,
but
like the same case, I know some people are gonna be like, Avatar's not an anime, but Avatar has that anime feel and style, but being different enough to where it doesn't just look like every anime out there.
I would say, do you know the channel Mother's Basement?
You've done stuff with him. I haven't watched this stuff.
Yeah, so he's incredible. Jeff from Mother's Basement makes a lot of anime videos. I don't like anime, and I still great meme.
I'm sorry. I'm so sorry about that.
I don't like I said I don't like anime, but I still watch a lot of his videos because they're very well done. He's a very intelligent person, and he made a video that is called, if I can get explicit on this podcast for a second, the title is Avatar is anime. Fuck you. Fight me.
Good. Hell yeah, Jeff.
So watch that video if you disagree. But
I will say, Avatar is not anime in the very technical sense of the term. Avatar is anime in the colloquial sense of the term.
I think it's the opposite is true.
But anime just means Japanese animation, does it not?
Only to Americans, because in Japan it just means a cartoon. And so
so maybe not the colloquial sense of the term then. The what it means today versus the actual meaning of the word, the definition.
Yeah. I don't know.
That's what I would say.
Yeah.
But I agree that Avatar is anime because it looks like it feels like it, it's made like it.
Yeah.
It's anime.
And I do like Avatar.
Yeah, Avatar's great.
So the things that make Avatar different, the number one thing that makes Avatar different for me is I feel like the animation is more fluid than a lot of anime, which a lot of anime seems very choppy, where they do like images instead of an animation.
That I can be more forgiving about because it's probably just because so much of it is made, not all of them get the budget that stuff like Avatar gets, so they can't afford to do that.
Sure.
But yeah.
It's just my personal preference. I don't care for it.
It's objectively better when you have more frames in your animation.
Right. But something that Avatar does do that a lot of anime does, but I for some reason, I don't know why I'm more forgiving with Avatar than other things. I don't really like spiritual mysticism kind of things in my in shows that I watch, regardless of what they are.
Interesting.
Not a fan.
Racist.
It's not what. So anything dealing with spirits, usually not a fan of it, or demons, or any sort of magical, mystical thing.
Sure.
I'm not a big fan.
Common theme.
And that is a very common theme. And I know that there are slice of life animes out there. Yeah. I know that there are sci-fi animes out there. And I've tried to watch a few of those, but then other things come back in with, which is the style and the frames and whatever.
I know, Nisha, you didn't ask me, you asked Scott, but I would like to say, to more defend my stance on not particularly liking anime, I just don't like animation as much as other mediums, which is weird because I love comic books so much. But
comic books notoriously have a terrible frame rate.
Yeah, exactly. But like anything that's animated, if it's animated versus live action, I am more want to look at the live action stuff and like that versus the cartoon or the anime.
Yeah.
So it's just there are so many pillars that are stacked up against me liking an anime, and if a friend recommends it to me, I also just don't have that many friends that recommend anime to me.
Yeah, that's true.
So nobody is like, you gotta like the last thing someone was like, you gotta watch this anime was One Punch Man, and I watched it and I liked it. So.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of people tell me that I would like One Punch Man because I just love superheroes, and I've heard it deconstructs a lot of superhero tropes or whatever.
It deconstructs a lot of anime tropes.
Oh, does it?
So yeah.
Well, I don't know if I would understand those.
You probably wouldn't, but
Yeah.
it still it comes across as like, oh, that's funny.
Okay.
But you one of the some people will say that he's the main character, but I don't really understand that because he's not. Saitama is the main character, but maybe I'm a big idiot. But like the secondary dude who comes in, he's like a big edgy emo typical anime guy.
Yeah.
And his existence is making fun of the typical protagonist in an anime. But people are like, oh no, Saitama's not the protagonist, this guy is, even though I'm pretty sure the only reason he exists is to make fun of the people who would think he's the protagonist.
Yeah. I hear you. I also think that anime, and this is to other people, this is going to be a strong point, whereas to me it's more of a negative point.
Okay.
Anime tends to have really massive, in-depth worlds, and that takes me infinite amount of time to adjust to, and I never quite get there. It's the same reason why I don't like a lot of comic book things that really dive into like really deep into lore about like other universes and like these characters are above all the things and they hold everything. I know a lot of people do it immediately. I drop it. I'm just done.
That's fair.
I can't.
It's too much.
It's not even that it's too much. I just don't care. I don't care about how the universe works.
Not invested enough.
Yeah.
So you would not read the Silmarillion.
No.
Yeah.
I would absolutely not.
Fair enough.
It's like I love a lot of it's even like if Earth exists,
which it
then
doesn't.
well, okay, but like I mean, in the fiction of whatever story we're telling, if the Earth exists, then it's really hard for me to be invested in something that's taking place off of
Oh,
Earth.
really?
Because I'm like, show me what's happening at the.
What if nothing's happening? What if it's just boring?
if nothing's happening, then great. Like I mean, freaking
if they mention that stuff is happening, you want to see it.
Or just like I don't know. So for Firefly is a really great example of Earth exists, but like it's all used up. Nobody cares about it.
Yeah.
So it's just them out in space and doing whatever. But that's a simple world to understand. That is just that it's all it is that humanity spreading out to space.
Yeah.
The end. Once we get into like if Firefly ever talked about like, oh, but then it was because of this alien godlike race that came in and like there's a certain point where if we start talking about the reality of existence or whatever, then I don't really care.
Check out.
If it's just like aliens, then I'll stick around. Like, as aliens are fine. Like Guardians of the Galaxy, fine. I like Guardians of the Galaxy, but like, yeah.
That's an interest. So what do you think about just like the Thor mythos? Because they're, depending on the writer, they are aliens or gods.
Right.
So
it's that I do have a little like internal
this is
struggle.
Something new I'm learning about.
I do have an internal struggle with the Thor mythos. I like it's a lot of stuff that I like if it's not explored. I like this mystery of just being or not even. You know, I don't need everything about a universe that I'm invested in to be explained in every single capacity. Yeah. I just watched Scooby-Doo Mystery Incorporated, and something I was complaining about is that they over-explained the Scooby-Doo universe. They had the reason Scooby-Doo talks is because he's a descendant of like an interdimensional being, and I'm like, unnecessary for me to understand this world.
So you're probably not a fan of like the spider totem stuff. Yeah,
absolutely.
I feel like most people aren't, but yeah, they fucking Dan Slott brought that shit back recently. I don't know why. He in a recent issue of Amazing Spider-Man, he was palling around with Loki, who was the Sorcerer Supreme for a hot minute. And he knocks over this vase, and Loki's like, "How did you break that? This is the only... how did you break the one thing that you could possibly break in the Sanctum Sanctorum?" And the reason it's the one thing he could possibly break is because he's the Spider Totem, and only the Spider Totem can touch that vase. I thought Dan Slott... Dan Slott didn't make the Spider Totem stuff, did he?
I can't remember.
I think he just... I don't remember. He probably did, because I know he continued it with Spider-Verse. but I don't remember if he started it or not.
Yeah, it's been a while, but like, yeah, a lot of fantastic. I don't know. I know a lot of people really love that. I know a lot of people really love understanding the nitty gritty of how every facet of a fictional world works, and that's great. And there's obviously a huge market for that.
Yeah.
It's just not for me.
I like it if it's necessary and not stupid. Like your Scooby-Doo example. Yeah, we don't need to know why Scooby-Doo can talk. Yeah. Especially if the answer is he's the descendant of some god.
An interdimensional being.
That's fucking dumb. Mm-hmm. If the answer was like, oh, he ate a bunch of Scooby snacks and that made him talk, I'd be like, oh, okay, that's cute.
Yeah.
But
or like he just hangs around humans so much that he kind of picks up.
Yeah,
like
that's the Meowth the Meowth thing.
Like that's fine.
Right.
Did I need that explanation?
No. But it's fine.
It's fine though.
Like Spider-Man didn't need to be the descendant or the reincarnation of this spider god that fits on a totem pole of other animal themed gods.
Yeah.
But they did that. So we gotta live with it.
Yeah, it's there are some things that I do feel like Thor we were talking about briefly. Mm-hmm. I like Thor stories but I don't need the facet of like I can just turn my brain off and be like Thor is Thor. I don't have to care about like how he fits into this universe. If he's just Thor beating up bad guys, I'm fine. I don't have to think about it. But if they do stories about like, well, you know, he's interpreted this way and this and I'm like I'm just gonna put down the comic because I don't even care at that point.
That's a good to use Thor again. Currently in comic books, Jane Foster's dying, and it's real fucking sad.
Yeah.
But Jason Aaron could have explained like the nitty gritty of why every time she transforms into Thor, she's dying more and more. But he was just like, no, every time you transform, it reverses your chemo a little bit. That's all the explanation we got, and we're like, okay, that makes sense to my comic book brain. That's all I needed. Thank you. You didn't need to be like the molecules and the atoms and it's punishment from the All-Father. And it's like, no, shut up.
Yeah, it's the same issue that I'm sure I've talked about before that I like they don't do it much anymore, but early Flash episodes where they have to explain how somebody got their powers. Like the particle accelerator, it's like this particle accelerator exploded as they were on this telephone pole changing a thing, and the electrons must have conducted. And I'm like, I don't care. They have electric powers. Awesome. Let's get on with the episode.
Move on, guys.
Yeah.
They like that techno babble.
They sure do. What was the question again?
Why do you hate anime?
Oh, right.
And puppies.
I don't hate puppies. I do love. I think they mentioned cats. She mentioned cats.
Cats are great.
No, yeah. Do I hate kittens? I don't hate kittens or puppies. I don't hate joy, and I also just don't hate anime. It's just it's just not for me.
I'm kind of the same way. I will get into an anime if I'm also just like it's not in my lane.
Yeah,
and that's not to say that I can't. It's just I have so much other shit going on.
Yeah,
I can't add anime into the mix.
I can't keep up with all the other stuff that I currently
and like woe is me. But comic books. I have to work a lot to keep up with comic books.
Yeah, I do.
There's a lot of shit coming up. I know you don't care about being current, but I do.
Yeah,
and it's. Whew.
But I mean, I can't even keep up with the shows that are going on that I actually like.
I thought I was behind, but they just stopped. They're just on hiatus right now. I'm like, oh, good. Thank you.
I really the only shows I ever keep up with are like the Netflix model where all the episodes are dropped, and I can just
do it.
I can just vote 2 days, watch it all, and then continue the rest of my life.
2 days.
Yeah. Yep.
Child's play.
I know.
Anyway,
but yeah, I don't know.
Could probably wrap.
Okay.
We're like 10 minutes over.
Sounds good.
But that's fine. I think this.
I cannot wait to get 1,000 replies about anime that I should watch. That people think I will really enjoy. I'm not gonna watch anime, guys. I've given it a shot multiple times. You can save your comments.
I think
for actual questions and whatnot.
I'm gonna be completely honest here. I will not watch anything that any of you recommend to me.
Yeah.
If a real human person friend comes up to me and recommend, then maybe I'll give it a chance. But not if any of you schmucks do it.
No.
It's just...
I'm so sorry, but
you're too varied. I don't know your tastes.
Yeah.
I know Scott's tastes. I know Kevin's tastes. I know my friend's tastes. Anyway, enough of insulting you boys. This was a fun one.
Sure was.
I liked this one.
This was a good one.
My ears hurt.
Okay.
These headphones are not great.
I'm fine.
Well, you have smaller ears than me. I feel like you have smaller ears than me.
Sure, I have a smaller head in general than most people.
Yeah.
Just compacts my big old brain.
Anyway, I think, how do we...
Yeah, just plugging stuff.
Oh, that's right. I always forget that we plug stuff.
Yeah. Well, obviously, the most important thing is to follow this podcast on Twitter at the On Pod.
Whoa.
It felt like you were going to purposely mess up to try and mess me up.
I thought about it. Well, yeah, at the On Pod, ask us questions with the hashtag AskTheo. You could do it whenever. We'll just check our notifications or look out on the Twitter, turn those notifs on.
Yeah, man.
And see if we ask for questions or anything.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If anyone wants to try and draw what they think Theo looks like,
get like we'll change the... If one is accurate, we'll change our profile picture to match. I've been wanting to change it to something anyway. So
okay. Yeah. Send us literally, it doesn't have to be great.
No.
Just doodle.
I would like it to be great.
Yeah, sure.
But I know there are some people who have done fan art for, I guess, both of us who
who are
very
awesome.
talented.
Super talented. But yeah, just give us your best rendition of what you think Theo looks like.
Theo.
We'll compare notes.
Good Theo, man. All right. Anyway, I'm on Twitter at Orem Alexander, or you can look at videos on this channel that I do. I can't tell you if anything will be out, but maybe the Supergirl video might be out on NerdSync by this point.
Maybe.
If not this point, then next week.
Sometime.
Or not. We'll see. Your turn, because I'm dying.
Speaking of NerdSync, hey, go to youtube.com. No, wait, my vanity URL's broken.
Search it.
Just search for NerdSync, NERDSYNC.
Yeah.
If you want to do that, we make new videos every week to varying degrees of success. And
Fair.
Which I'm actually I'll talk later, but it's not important to the audience. Anyway, so you can also follow me on Twitter at Scott Nice Wonder. That's my personal one, or just at NerdSync if you want more updates about video stuff and other little comic memes that I throw out there occasionally. Good times. That's really everything for me.
Wowzers. Well, cool. I've been the big D,
and I've been the Duke of Wellington.
The Duke of Wellington.
Not Duke Wellington.
The
Duke of
Wellington.
Yeah.
Very good. Thanks for listening. That's how the James becomes a man.
With a giant peach.
Oh, that's nice.
For any of our viewers who have access to internet, we invite your comments.